Hello everyone and welcome back to another Babbling Irons video with myself, Mike and Sloth today. Another day, another link, this time coming out of, AD Sports Verald. Can't say they're the most reliable source, but we'll break the player down anyway. And that is Geertruida of Feyenoord, a versatile Dutch international. And it said that West Ham are one of the few English clubs interested in signing him this summer. Interesting link, guys. Still only 23 years old. He's around 6 foot. As it kind of said there, he's versatile. He's played predominantly as a right back this season, but he's still played like 9 games at centre back as well for them. And from the stats that we're seeing from Eredivisie, he's scored 8 goals and got 5 assists, pretty much playing right back the whole time. It's not a bad return for a full. That's probably beats a lot of our attacking output from some of the attackers we've had over the years. So instantly, my mind's like, okay, he's going to be someone that's very good offensively for us and kind of transforms that side of things. But what's your initial thoughts on the link to Geertruida? Because, as I say, he's still only 23. He's now in the Netherlands national team, which is pretty cool as well. So definitely a talent there.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because I think he was linked with a lot of the sort of top clubs last season and last summer. And I think it's a bit of a surprise that there doesn't seem to be more buzz around him. He is very, very solid in both ends of the pitch, both elements of his game, going forward offensively and defensively, are strong. And he's also about 6 foot tall as well. So he's a strong physical unit. And I think for us to be linked with young, exciting defenders, someone who, is potentially going to challenge the first team, as opposed to kind of what we're normally linked with in the wing back departments, is a very refreshing change. And as with a lot of the targets as well, attackers included in this, he's also very versatile. As you mentioned, he can play centre back. He's also covered at central defensive mid a couple of times. So it's something that I would be very behind, but I am a little bit taking it with a pinch of salt, this link, because it would be a very ambitious move.
Mike, are you kind of in the same camp? I mean, we'll get onto the statistic breakdown in a second, where, to be honest, we'll go through over the defensive stats as well, because they don't look amazing from the statistics, but, his offensive stuff looks really, really promising. So, yeah, what type of fullback is Geertruida? And, would it be different to what we're used to seeing playing that fullback position?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say he will be different to Soufal. He kind of came through as a bit of as a centre-back. Mainly last year, he was centre-back for the entire season for Arne Slot. And this year, he kind of leaned quite significantly on his versatility. Played left-back, I think, once or twice. Centre midfield. Sorry, centre midfield, I think he played a couple of games, but predominantly right-back and centre-back. So that flexibility is fantastic. And that's not something we say get out of Soufal. And him coming through as a defender, he's going to be more defence first in his kind of mindset. Think maybe a bit like Ben White as a right back, can get forward because he is comfortable on the ball. However, he's probably going to be better going the other way, but he has grown over the course of the season. Obviously, to have the 8 goals this year shows a player that is getting himself in positions to actually score.
Interesting, because, at his offensive stats, as we say, he scored 8 goals and got 5 assists last season in the league, which is a very good return for a fullback to have. Looking at his, again, this is comparing with the other 14 leagues, because of Feyenoord, obviously, are in the Eredivisie. So it's not comparing it with the top 5 leagues, but the percentiles he's thrown up comparing with other fullbacks in those kind of second leagues is very interesting. I mean, you can see here he's in pretty high percentiles when it comes to the shooting statistics, goals, shot distance, shots on target per game, expected goals as well. He's in the highest percentile for a fullback. So he is someone that, again, this season has got in and around those areas and, inevitably scored goals. And again, you break down the passing statistics as well. Someone that's looks like he's very progressive in how he wants to move the ball. Passes into the final third around 7.76 per 90, which is very high. You can kind of see there he's someone that wants to progress with his passing. So you know, it's interesting you say about, you know, the Ben White comparison as an example, because that's someone we constantly see overlapping Saka now, you know, providing that attacking, adding that attacking outlet or defensive attacking mindset, sorry, to his game. So 23 years old, obviously playing for Netherlands. How much do you reckon this deal would probably cost West Ham to get done if we were potentially looking at him?
It's the sort of deal that makes sense with him being in the last 12 months of his contract. I don't really know how much he'd cost, because I suspect Feyenoord would want to hold out for the best amount possible, but it will be a case of them knowing that he's probably not going to sign a new deal. He's not going to extend it. So they want to cash in and get the best amount for him. I would suspect it'd probably be about 25 million. And I think when you look at what he offers, that's good value for money, particularly with his age. It's just a case of, for me, will we be the most attractive option for him? Because I can picture a few clubs going in for him.
Yeah, I think it's us and Liverpool that have been linked. You would argue, does he fit at Liverpool at the moment? Because he's not going to play right back, arguably not going to play centre back either, ahead of what they currently have. So you would argue, if it's us and Liverpool, we are probably the more appealing in the sense of first team football and always going to kind of always be a key player and play. However, obviously we don't have Europe, so that's a bit of a kind of a downside. And I think for me, I think one of the reasons why we are so clearly interested in him, and although this has been someone we've been interested in over a year, is I can imagine Lopetegui is very much looking at him as his West Ham potential version of Jules Koundé. Defender that's a similar type of height, similar type of player, especially in terms of possession, incredibly comfortable in possession. Yes, his height makes him maybe a little bit susceptible kind of aerially, but the other facts of his game, in the fact that he is an astute defender and he can also play in multiple positions, because Koundé played right back, could play centre back as well. I think even he went and played in defensive midfield 1 or 2 games as well because of his flexibility and his ability on the ball. And I think that's probably a way to look at the type of right-sided centre-backs we're looking at. Is that player who can have that kind of Jules Koundé-esque ability? Even, as I said, with Ben White, he's the same kind of player who can play right-back and centre-back. So I think it's interesting we're looking at him because it seems to fit that kind of model of where you can have a player that has the ability to go forward, but if you need to, or if you want to in a game, you can invert him inside, shift your defence over to player back free when you're in possession and push, say, the likes of Emerson further up the pitch. And that's how you kind of create your width, because then you push him up forward, you keep free back. It even means Alvarez can step slightly forward. So when we're doing that press, we have a more aggressive midfield and particularly one of our better tacklers positioned higher. So it gives us that ability to really kind of go for the jugular a bit more. And again, it's a bit more pace in the back line, which means you can play that higher line and be a bit more aggressive.
Question for you both. With obviously the squad rebuild that we've got to do this summer, there's a lot of work that goes on. If this deal, again, is going to cost around £25 million to get done, would you not rather just keep Ben Johnson? Because he's someone that can play, you know, as you're kind of describing there, Mike, he can play in that back three comfortably. He can play it right back. He's obviously a homegrown talent. Does it not just make sense to keep Johnson for now?
I think we will aim to keep Johnson. But again, what it does do is give you that option to obviously have a player who can play in 2 positions, but also it's that thing of if Soufal is unhappy, as it's been suggested as well, or we get a decent offer, or we maybe even entertaining offers for Soufal, buying a defender, the likes of Geertruida, and Trevor Chalobah, and someone else who we're going to talk to, but we're not going to say his name now because we will all know when we get to it, when it comes out. They can all play as a right-sided centre back. My words out, and they can also play right back. So you can see it as a smart deal because it means that we get players who play in multiple positions, and it also gives us that little bit of headroom if, say, Johnson doesn't want to sign, and also if Soufal wants out. So I think it's a good thing. I do think we need to keep Ben Johnson anyway, regardless. However, I do think it gives us that possibility to kind of branch out and have that flexibility if one of them or even both of them wanted to go, because you've got a player who can switch between multiple positions.
What about you, Sloth? If Ben Johnson was hypothetically to stay, would you still be looking to bring in someone like Geertruida to if Kufau was also staying and have those as your versatile options?
I think so. I think it's definitely a rich selection. I mean, remember as well that Mavropanos can play right back, so he did cover a lot there for Stuttgart, and I think it's about sending a message where if you're looking to bring in these wing backs or a right-sided centre back, someone like that who can be versatile, it's saying to the squad, look, you have to up your game or else there's going to be people who are going to take your place. And we have said on this channel, and I think quite a lot of West Ham fans have said over the course of the past season, that's not always felt like it's the case. Players were played out of form and perhaps picked for different reasons, because they were trusted or whatever it may be. But I think that when you are trying to raise the level and when you're trying to increase the quality in the squad, this is one of the best ways to do it, because you're sending a very clear message to everyone that if they don't up their game, this guy's going to be right on your tail and ready to take your spot.
Yeah, 100%. It's as we've mentioned it loads of times, but the squad depth needs to be there, because not only does it mean you can be more flexible, but also, like you say, that internal challenging of positions is key for people pushing on and growing their own development. So, yeah, let us know what you think in the comments of the link to Geertruida. Would you like to see him come into the West Ham team this summer? And yeah, let us know. Leave a comment and a like on the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. And lads, until next time.
Come on, you irons.